At KSMO, time for our spotlight on the Salem Memorial Hospital, and we have Amber with us. Yay,
Good
Amber!
morning.
How are you, girl?
Pretty good. Doing pretty
Good,
good.
good, good. Amber's in. We're going to talk a little bit about, well, obviously, a little promotion for you in getting in charge of the ED and ambulance services. You're getting very busy.
I am. I am. I've taken over the emergency department and the ambulance and TCD coordinator in emergency operations. I was, working in the clinic as a nurse
Sure.
practitioner and
And still will be on weekends, right?
yeah. Yeah, I'm going to do about once a month and at the weekend walk-in clinic. So still going to keep up on my nurse practitioner thing, but I spent years working in the ER and also in the ambulance, so um it's a pretty good fit for me. So
And as a nurse practitioner, you see stuff in the ER that you can assist with as well, right? I
yeah,
mean, diagnose quickly.
yeah,
That always comes in handy. So, I mean, this is obviously added responsibilities and stuff.
it is.
When you start to add up all the different things that entails, I think a lot of people really don't have any idea, unless they need the emergency department, what goes on in the emergency department. I mean, it's usually, to hear the term stat, and everybody knows what that kind of means, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that happen simultaneously in the ED that if you've never been in part of it, you're just amazed at how these people don't run into each other and how
That's
it's
true.
it's a coordinated chaos, kind of what I call it.
It is, especially with truly emergent situations. The ER, we work with a lot of the ancillary departments. They're coming in for x-rays or
Sure.
respiratory treatments. And so it takes a lot, like you said, of coordination. We all get used to and what we do, and nursing staff, whenever it's time, say like with strokes, the one thing that we have to get done really, really quickly is getting a CT of the patient's head. So nursing staff knows that as soon as the patient gets in there, we get out of the way for x-ray, and the x-ray comes and takes the patient to get a CT. And so it is very coordinated, and all my nursing staff and all the ancillary departments work really well together to provide quality care for the patient at SMH. So
Now, I can honestly say I had to go in to the hospital a couple times last year with some high blood pressure,
yes.
had some chest pains. And you talk about how fast they can get you in and get you. I mean, they were slapping stuff on me so quick just to
Yes.
get some quick readings. You don't even realize they do it. Say it looks effortless, like they know exactly what they're doing. The
Yeah.
shirt comes off and bang, 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 bang. They put you on there, and they're getting readings so quickly. They're drawing blood
Yes.
to take things. Yeah, like I said, when you see how all this works together, this doesn't happen just by accident. There's a lot of work and practice
There is.
and protocol that goes into this.
There is, yeah, and especially with our time critical diagnosis, the STEMI and the strokes, that was implemented years ago with Tabitha, the former ER director. So we keep up on it with. The state comes down and recertifies us, and so we have stuck with the protocols that have been back then, and which I'm getting ready to make sure, and nothing has changed or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, once we got that up and going, when people come in with chest pain or complaining of unilateral weakness or numbness and tingling or anything like that to suggest that the patient's having a stroke, then it triggers the nurses, and boom, they're on the phone calling the ancillary departments to do a code stroke or a STEMI protocol, so we can, because it is a time critical. So as fast as we can get it done and get that patient to where they either need to go if they are having a stroke or a STEMI, or getting that initial EKG or CT to tell us whether or not, oh, okay, they're not having a STEMI. So then stuff still goes fast, but not as fast as it would as a
it's
Stephanie,
not as
so,
emergent
yes.
as it would be as if it was a stroke. And that was in my case. It was really nothing. They gave me some nitro, and
Yes.
the pain subsided actually fairly quick.
Yes.
It was just a dull pain I had for almost 7 hours, and then it went away pretty quick. And the interesting part about it is that okay, now that we've got you stabilized, and we're going to admit you, we're going to take a look, make sure nothing is out of the ordinary. Then they take their time and they slow it down. They
Yes.
slow you down because, when you're going in the hospital, you're not exactly not stressing yourself a little bit.
Right.
Because nobody really wants to be going in there
Right.
just to go in there and go through this. But it is comforting to know that when you get in there, immediately you're getting the attention you need to try and get a diagnosis just as quickly as possible. Yeah, they had me on an EKG. I can't imagine how fast that was. What, 35, 40 seconds?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
mean, it
try.
was
We
that
try as soon as we find out. And the receptionist, some people forget that the receptionist, the ER receptionists, are part of the ED
Oh, yeah.
also. So as soon as they find out if somebody's having chest pain, then they're right on the phone calling us before even the patient gets put in the system. So then we can get what we need to get done with that patient as soon as we can. So, they're very helpful and good at their job.
So let's help the ED a little bit. And when people have to go in, I know nobody really knows when they're going to have to go to the emergency department. That's not something you sit there and say next Tuesday
Yeah.
at 8:00. But when they get to the ED, there's certain things you guys need to know, like what medications you're on, and if you have any allergies and things of that nature. So it's always good to have somebody come with you that may have a list of all that.
Yeah.
And if not, you need to have that on you, because then you can tell somebody at the hospital, it's in my purse, it's in my wallet, check it, it's right there, all the medications, because you really need to know, don't you?
We do. Nursing staff needs to know, and then also definitely the physician. The medications that you're on or your past medical history can really drive what the physician is going to do for the treatment of the patient, depending on what's going on. Especially, if you might be having allergic reaction to something. So we definitely, and if primary care provider is up in our clinic, at SMH Family Medicine, we can access those records because we're all on the same
Sure.
system. But like if you go to Phelps or if you go to Mercy, unfortunately we can't access that. So it is very helpful. We can call the pharmacies and stuff like that, but it's quicker if you have a list of your medications. Some people actually bring in their medication bottles too.
Right. Oh yeah. I know I did that one time because there's some I just didn't think they weren't doing anything, or I didn't think they were doing anything. So I brought in the whole bag and
Yeah.
I said, all right, these, and then one actually that a cardiologist gave me. I stopped taking it for the second time. It gave me higher blood pressure.
Oh.
A water pill.
Oh.
And the doctor saying that won't happen. I said, I'm going to tell you it did, and I'm going to tell you why. And I said, I went to him on Friday, took that pill on Saturday, my blood pressure went up 70 points.
Oh, wow.
And then it started to come down. I took another one Sunday, went up 90 points.
Yeah. It's
I
amazing.
didn't take it anymore after
Yeah.
that. And you know what? It came right back to where I had gotten it, to where I was feeling better.
Oh, wow.
With the medication that I was on from that chest pain that I had when I went to the hospital. So what I was on originally was better than what the cardiologist did, but medicine is not just an absolute.
No.
Sometimes there's things that should work, but for whatever reason in your system,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah, it's amazing how the body is everybody's completely different. So as a nurse practitioner, when I was doing that full time, you always have to keep in mind that just because one medication is going to work for one person,
Right.
that it might not
Right.
for another person. So it's amazing. And working in the emergency department, we see so many varied things, and that's the type of person that works in the ED as far as nursing goes, is they like that complete variety of patients that's going to be coming in throughout the day.
You never know what's going to walk
You
in the
never
door.
know. You know, there's days that we see a lot of clinic type of symptoms and stuff like that, but there's some days where we get really, really sick people all day long. And so, you know, we staff our ER with 2 RNs all the time on day shift and night shift. And and of course, now I'm there that can help also,
Sure.
just like Tabitha did and previous ED directors. But whenever you have what we call higher acuity patients, the more sick patients that are truly emergent, it gets a little stressful. But the nursing staff do a really, really good job in, you know, keeping their composure and just getting the work done.
So, I mean, yeah, you talk about the diversity, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit because here we are in allergy season, and
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, people don't think that allergy, they think the little sniffles and stuff like that, but some people get very allergic
They do.
to a lot of different things. I know I'm extremely allergic to poison ivy myself.
Oh.
So you keep all the poison ivy if you want to, but I don't want it near it. Unfortunately, I know where it is. But if you know you have that allergy and you know you get near it, then you start looking for those signs.
Yes.
But if you don't know you have it, you never know what's going to be out there. You got pollens coming from all different kinds of trees and flowers and bushes, and you just don't know which one can be affecting you. But one thing you may have is an adverse reaction and maybe some medication to control that allergy.
Yes.
And that you need to know. You need to get to the emergency room right now.
Yeah, and people forget too that, you know, the emergency room is used for, like, say during the scenario that you just said, that we are going to treat that emergent situation. So we're going to try and reverse that allergy. If you're having trouble breathing, we're going to give you medications to help with that. Now, if you go to the emergency room, we're not going to be able to tell you specifically what caused that. And so
Sure.
then you can go back to your primary care physician
Right.
and they can do a workup and find out exactly what caused it by doing an allergy panel and stuff like that. So we are definitely there to treat whatever is going on at that time.
Exactly.
So,
But the thing is, though, a lot of times we always talk about allergies, and a lot of people don't think allergies can be food allergies.
oh yeah.
You know, they can be an animal bite allergy. I mean, you know, we all seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Tick bites and everything else, and the crud that can happen from all that. I mean,
Yes.
you've seen
and
a lot.
alpha gal is so
Alpha-
huge right
absolutely,
now,
an
and
alpha-gal.
we've seen reactions just like hives.
Right, I
People
was
get
going to say,
hives from them eating the beef products and stuff like that. But then we've also seen people with alpha gal that not only hives, but they anaphylactic type reactions. You know, they have their lips swell up, they have trouble breathing and stuff like that. So I mean, even just like with the alpha gal, it can vary with the type of reaction that they have.
But
So,
go back to what you were saying, the original critical diagnosis of that is key, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You know, because if you have alpha gal, you don't want to be treating it for something else.
Right.
You know, you want to say, hey, this has all the signs of alpha gal. You need to pull off this, and you need it's a lifestyle change for a lot of people.
It
because
is.
it can be permanent, but I understand
Yeah.
sometimes it's temporary.
Yes.
And it can go away. I have a fried fish allergy. That's the craziest thing in the world. I can have fried lobster tails. I can have fried crab legs. I can't have fried catfish.
Oh,
and I
that's
can't,
sad.
I know. Or sole or anything like that.
Yeah.
Now, why? I have no idea. I was a senior in high school. And every Friday I always had the fried fish at school. Every Friday. Never a variance.
Yeah.
And I it's a senior in high school, and I had a fried fish sandwich, and all of a sudden my lips kind of just tingled a little bit. That was the only thing that happened that time. The next week, hard to swallow a little bit, it was a little bit dry, and then the third week my lips got big, and I was really struggling to breathe. Went and got some water, and I said, "What is going on?" And the only common denominator was the fried fish.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So, you know, our family had a restaurant, and I went and had a piece of fried sole. It did exactly the same thing.
Wow.
Like it got worse, and every time it happened, it got a little bit worse. That was it. That was the last piece of fried fish I ate.
Yeah.
And there was times that you go to fast food restaurants and you're ordering something else, and they put fish in there.
Mm.
You take one bite. You don't even swallow it. You just take one bite. You can feel it.
Oh no.
So when you have that allergy and you don't, like I said, the first couple times you get, you don't even know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been bread. It could have been something else. It could have been
Right.
the breading on that fish, or it could have been the fish. You don't take chances, though, because
No.
once you know, you don't do it.
Right.
And that's why I said with alpha-gal, a lot of times, that's the first time you get it, and it just smacks you.
Yeah.
In my case, it was pretty a mild come on, but you never know what your body's going to change your entire life.
It is.
And it could change back to where I could go eat fried fish every day if I wanted to, maybe, but I probably won't.
Don't want to chance it, huh?
Because you never know when it's going to kick back either.
Yeah.
But any food you eat, flowers. I've seen people who have raised gardens all their life and never had allergies whatsoever. And then one year they go out there and they start doing the same thing that they've done for 25 or 30 years, and they can't be out in the garden more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It happens that way,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
It can. Yeah.
So, and you have to be aware of it, and then also know when it's serious enough that you need to go to the emergency department.
Yes.
And a lot of times people say, well, I'll just drive myself. Probably not the smartest thing you want to do
No.
if you're getting an allergic reaction, right?
Right. Especially if you start, any time that you start feeling like your throat is closing or having a hard time breathing, stuff like that, don't chance it. Just call 911. We have, we keep 2 ambulances in our hospital district. And, sometimes if we have to take a transfer something from the ER from acute care to another hospital, but we always have 1 ambulance in district. So we would rather have you err on the side of caution,
Right.
and we come and get you to take you to the ER.
Let's talk a little bit about seasonality. And we already talked a little bit about, obviously, allergies. But this is also the time, summer season. A lot more accidents happen
Yes.
from people working on their home, swimming, playing sports, different things of that nature. People who aren't familiar with the area stepping in potholes or getting bit by snakes or things of that
Yes.
nature. ED is key and critical in the summertime, isn't it? Because
It
there's all
is.
kinds of things that come
It
in.
is. And this is the season where it really, we have certain things in the winter. And like you were saying, spring, summertime, we're getting a lot of out of towners. So we start seeing a lot of like fish hooks in every single body part you can imagine.
I'm surprised you don't get more of those at once.
Oh, yeah, we do, and especially the treble hooks,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. But that and we've been seeing a lot of, because it's very popular, is side by side accidents, and they can be very, very bad traumas for the patients, and like I was kind of going with the ambulance side of it, getting called out to wherever it may be, the residence or flat nasty, or if patients have had that type of an accident and the paramedics feel like that the patient needs to be at a very higher acuity facility, then we do a lot of scene flights and get them to that hospital. So it's, you don't think about it while you're in a side-by-side. They are so fun to be in, and driving around and stuff like that. And they've got these cages, that you sit in. But those cages, if you roll over and stuff like that, they do help, but a lot of the people do not wear the seat belts while they are driving them.
Right.
And we have a lot of people that whenever they crash and they roll it, it throws those people out of that side by side. And broken pelvises, broken legs, head injuries and stuff like that. So I encourage anybody that is in a side-by-side to definitely just buckle up that seatbelt, because
Right.
you never know what's going to happen. You know, I
No.
know a lot of people, they just go down gravel roads and, you know, having fun and stuff like that. But even if you are a careful driver, you don't know what else is, what you're going to meet out there, if it's another side by side or a vehicle or anything like that. So we do see a lot of that in the summer. And like I said, I just really encourage people. And if you're going to be hot wheeling them and stuff like that,
That's the
then
big
wear
thing.
a
Yeah.
helmet with it along with your seatbelts. I mean, you know, I worked on the ambulance for about 2.5 years, and even just in that small amount of time, I went on several accidents that involved them. So, you know, and this is the time of the year that they
Right.
start up because it's getting nice outside and people are wanting to do more stuff
Right.
outside.
And
And
people are getting tax money and they go buy a brand new one. They don't
yes,
know how to drive it. And they
yes,
think, I can make this turn real quick. And they slide. And then all of a sudden, it hits a rock or it hits something sturdy and it rolls.
yeah,
And you're rolling over.
yeah,
And you know what? The only thing that's on top of your head is your head. If
right,
it goes over and lands on top, you don't want that.
yeah,
You know, you really need to be cautious. It's like driving a car.
it is.
You don't want to be doing 60 miles an hour in an ATV and then decide you want to make a turn.
Right.
Not a good idea,
No,
you know, especially
no.
on a gravel road or even maybe even out in the forest. You don't want to do that. You might turn into a tree or something of that
Yeah.
nature. A lot of different things can happen out there.
Yeah.
You
So,
know, but you're right, and it's not only the ATVs, but then you have a lot of people who want to do all these home improvements,
yeah.
and they don't do it. They, you know, okay, I give a construction people a lot of credit. They do stuff I would never do. You know, they walk on stuff with 1 2x4 and they're 50 feet in the air, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry, that is not going to happen with me.
Yeah.
But
No.
saws, chainsaws, different things to clear out property. Some people are going to be building new things, and they're going to DIY it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you get a cut. Chainsaw cuts, you've seen them before. Those are nasty.
They are.
And you can bleed to death quickly if you get the chainsaw cut in the wrong place.
Yeah.
You know, these accidents do happen.
They
And when
do.
they do, you need attention immediately.
You do, and it's like with anything else. If you do have, if it's questionable, if you have a cut or, you know, a laceration made by anything,
Sure.
you might as well come and get it checked out. If it's you know, there's some providers and clinics that will do laceration repairs, and some don't. So definitely come out to the ED, and the physician will tell you whether or not, yeah, I think you need some sutures, or we can use steri strips or glue
Sure.
or whatever. But it's definitely, you know. And then also, when was your last tetanus shot?
Well, that was my next point.
Yeah.
Do you
So
remember when your last one was?
mine was in nursing school. I have to keep up on mine, unfortunately. And people should, especially if they're going to be out doing stuff, and you know, you never know.
Right.
I always harp on my husband about it because he likes working with old cars, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and so
Old nasty
rusty
metal,
metal
you
and
bet.
that kind of stuff. So
Is it still 10 years?
10 years. And then if you have an injury, then if you've had one in the last 5, if you haven't, then you need to get another one. So
But if you can't remember,
if you can't
you better
remember,
get
you
one.
might as well just go ahead and get it.
Yeah,
So
you better
it's not
get one.
gonna hurt you.
a lot of people, you know, they go out and they walk through. You know, obviously, it's a great time to hike.
Yes.
All right. And a lot of people are out there, and there's a lot of places that, okay, you just don't want to just take the same old hiking trail everybody else does. So you're going to go off the beaten path a little bit, and all of a sudden you come across a barbed wire fence that's been halfway buried, and you don't even know it's there,
Yeah.
or you step in or scrape your ankle. You really don't know how you did it. You feel it, and then later on, oh, you're still walking. Oh, it doesn't bother me that much. And then you get done walking, and that thing is looking nasty.
Yeah.
And they can very quickly,
can.
especially if it's a rusty old one.
Yeah. So, you know, definitely stuff like that, then come see us so you can be checked out just to make sure that everything is okay.
But it is, as you mentioned, it's a very, obviously a very exciting thing to do, to be in the ED, but it can, for the people going in, it's good to know that people like yourself are there that remain calm. You have a protocol in place. I did want to ask one other thing. I know we were talking about a little bit about Stroke Awareness Week, which is this week, by the way, and how the hospital has the STEMI and stroke awareness programs and do an outstanding job. And you are tested on that all the time.
We are.
But you also hold self-tests. And I think people don't even understand that at times the hospital does their own self-test. There is no emergency, but you're going to run through one just like there was one, right?
Yeah. Especially when we get a new person in the ED or on the ambulance, then we definitely, because, we go through periods of time where we don't see a stroke or a STEMI. So we try and keep up on our skills and all of that to make sure, we assess, because we have different time frames. We need to have this done by this time and this done by this time. So going through practice trainings and stuff like that is very helpful for our nurses and our ancillary staff to keep us up on point. So then whenever that patient does come in, then we know exactly what to do and when to do it and get that patient out if they need to go to a higher level of care.
Yeah, and you can't practice knowing it's a drill. I always say, when they announce when a fire drill is going to be, well, what good is that? If you're announcing a fire drill, then everybody's ready. We're 2 minutes away from the fire drill, so okay, that's not really a fire drill. I mean, I do remember one time at our elementary school that our principal wanted to just test to see if the teachers knew what they were doing instead of going through the routine, right? He went and pulled a fire alarm. He had already called the fire department saying this is not real, but he just went and pulled a fire alarm, like right in the middle of a day, and I go, you just see everybody look around like, well, this isn't a drill.
Yeah. It's a good test to see if people know what they're doing.
Right. And so it was, and that's kind of what the hospital does. They do not tell them that this is a drill. They go through it just like it's a real case.
Yeah.
And then that makes it obviously real to the people who have to go through it. And of course, they're taking the signs. They do everything that they have to do. And then after the end of it, they say, well, that was a drill, but here's where we stand.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's very important, especially if you have new people on board, that they're able to understand that it's like we say, mass confusion, but it's a coordinated mass confusion.
Is. And that's what a lot of the emergency department is. Because, we see a lot of stuff that a lot of people are like, I can not imagine doing what you guys do. But it's a very organized chaos.
Well, we appreciate the great work that you do, Amber, and really thank you. They've taken on a new position, and so you seem to be excited about it.
I am. I've got a lot of ideas going into it, a lot of more so on our ambulance side of being able to get out in the community and do some awareness. Of course, that takes time to put in place, but be watching for us. We're going to be out there.
All right, very good. Amber Hogan, your emergency department and your ambulance director, right?
I am.
And both. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but I got wide shoulders.
Yeah, you do. You've done a lot of this before.
I have.
But now that and did that help you in taking the position because you have experienced this and been on ambulance and know a lot of these things?
Yes, I believe that when Jason Edwards, the interim CEO, asked me to do it, I think that had a big decision, like him asking me that, because I have spent my experience in the ER and the ambulance, so I know both sides of it, and I'm fortunate enough that I have had the experience of the whole realm, pretty much, of the hospital and pre-hospital care with the ambulance, the emergency department. I worked ancillary in respiratory for 11 years, and then the clinic now. Right. So I think that brings a lot to the table, and I think Jason realized that too. So I'm excited about it. I thank Jason for the opportunity to be able to go back to work with everybody that works in the ED and the ambulance. I've had a really good relationship with them, and I'm excited, and I think they are too.
Well, it seems like the experience that you've gotten working in those departments, you know what to expect from these people, and they know what to expect from you, because you can't pull something over in your eyes and you're just like, no, I know all about that.
Yes, that is true.
You're too far ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Amber, thank you for coming and spending some time with us. Our spotlight on the Salem Memorial Hospital. Good luck to you the rest of the way, and I hope everything works out well for you in the ED and at the ambulance director, and keep up the good work, man.
Thank
Really
you so
appreciate
much.
you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, stick around. Civic happenings are coming your way next.